Aloha! In this video, you're going to learn how to enhance your flexibility using a very common tool in the fitness industry. I don't really want to tell you what it is yet. I'm pretty sure you've never used it like this before. And so when applied to just a basic stretching routine, it'll significantly enhance your flexibility, saving lots of time in the process. You'll have instantaneous results. But hey, if we're meeting for the first time, my name is Dan Kayser. I'm a biomechanics specialist, an international trainer, speaker. And on this channel, you'll learn scientific-based shortcuts so you can get instantaneous results. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to know when new videos are out. All right, so in this program, we're gonna do a stretch. We're gonna hold it for 15 seconds or 3 breaths. And then we're gonna use these tools one at a time. And don't worry, we're not rolling anything out. Like I said, it's in a way that you probably never used before. And then we're gonna do the stretch again for the same amount of time, 15 seconds each segment, to see kind of how effective these tools were in enhancing your flexibility. So first, we're gonna start by doing this basic hamstring stretch. And as a rule of thumb, anytime you stretch, you wanna reach from the belly button down. You don't wanna reach from your head down. And you only want to enhance your flexibility or stretch on exhalation. So you're going to take a deep breath in, grab your feet or as far as you can down your legs, and exhale. And if you can, grab your feet wherever you can reach, the furthest point down your legs, that's where I want you to grab. And if you can't grab your legs, if it's too uncomfortable, maybe grab the floor and just try to slide the floor towards you this way without actually moving your hands, right? Moving your body forward. And so first, let's kind of see where you are with this hamstring stretch. Take a deep breath in and exhale. 3 breaths. And now, what I want you to do is grab this foam roller and wedge it between your legs and your upper body. And once again, reach the furthest point down your legs that you can. Take 3 more breaths. On the exhalation, really press hard into the foam roller. I'm trying to kind of crush it. It gets a little uncomfortable, but just know the more pressure you're applying to the foam roller, the more effective this becomes, noticing more flexible hamstrings right away. So here we're gonna hold this position for 3 breaths as well. And 3. And now we're gonna do it again. Grab the foam roller now that you're warmed up, now that you know what you're doing. Grab your legs, the furthest point imaginable. Inhale and press hard into it. Good. Remove the foam roller. It's okay to feel some pressure in your stomach. And then try again. And for me, it's very noticeable that I'm gaining flexibility in my legs. Good. Now, for the third segment, if the foam roller is creating too much pressure, like if you're too close to the ground, the other thing you can do is use this yoga block and you can just push your head into it. So here, I'm just pushing my forehead right into the block. Also for 3 breaths. That's number 2 and 1 more. And now I'm gonna remove the block. Notice I can go even further. The idea is kind of simple. What you're doing is diluting the sensory of a Golgi tendon. I know that's a mouthful. First, let me guide you towards this stretch and then I'll explain how this works. So now we're gonna bring one foot in, the other leg is straight. And once again, you wanna reach the furthest point and stretch the left leg. And so if you think about it, our muscles are just meat, right? They seem flexible. There's no reason why we shouldn't put our leg behind our head like we used to as babies. The reason you can't do that anymore is your nervous system doesn't trust that you can do that without injuring yourself. And so it engages something called the Golgi tendon, which is at the end of the nerve that tightens the muscle so that you don't overstretch it. This compressive force actually dilutes the sensory of the Golgi tendon, allowing us to stretch further. So after taking 3 breaths passively, now we're actively compressing this foam roller. I'm really crushing it, putting pressure into it for 3 more breaths or 15 seconds. And now noticeably more flexible. The reason for 15 seconds, and we're gonna do this again, is that's how long it takes for the information from the muscle to go to the brain and back, suggesting kind of the new stretched out position or the new location of the muscle. So actually, if you do this stretch, if you do any stretches for less than 15 seconds, it's as if you didn't stretch at all. One more, inhale and exhale. Good. And now, 3 breaths passively. Remember, you're only stretching on the exhalation. Take a deep breath in, and then I relax as I exhale. Let's do the other side. And so, first, we're just gonna establish your level of flexibility. Let's see kind of where you are. 3 breaths, or 15 seconds. Good, next, put the foam roller about right above the hips. Once again, grabbing a foot. If you can't reach the foot, remember, grab your calf, grab whatever you can, crush the foam roller. And for this exercise, I like the softer foam rollers, not the firm ones. For that purpose, you gotta crush the life out of it. Or not necessarily, honestly, it's just the more you pressure, the more pressure you create, the more flexible you'll become. Not bad. And if the foam roller is too big, you can also use the yoga block like this by just wedging the yoga block against your leg and your upper body and creating more pressure. I'm really squeezing the yoga blocks a little bit easier because it's smaller. And so the more flexible you are, the thinner tools you'll have to use. Here we go. And 3, approximately 15 seconds. Now, after all these stretches, let's go back to this one just to kind of see what happens, how the other stretches impact your hamstring flexibility, and they do. You should feel more and more loose. Next, we're gonna do the inner thigh stretch, and notice how I'm sliding my body forward, opening up my legs a little bit more, enhancing the range of motion. Let's see where I am today. Take a deep breath in, exhale. If you're feeling pressure by your knees here, then feel free to lower the toes to the ground. It's not a fix. Remember, you want your legs pointing straight up, but if a joint ever complains to you, you gotta pay attention, and that's one way that you can minimize the discomfort in here by lowering the big toe towards the ground or internally rotating your legs, right? So let's say you've established your level of flexibility in the inner thighs. Now grab the foam roller, push it above your hips first and create pressure. Really crush the foam roller, for the lack of a better term. Apply as much pressure as you feel comfortable for 3 breaths. And now, let's remove the foam roller. Not bad, but I think I can do even better. So now, I'm gonna wedge, because it's soft, I can wedge this foam roller kind of between my legs like so. And once again, I'm creating pressure. I'm trying to crush this foam roller with my abs. Okay, now, getting better and better. Another way you can do this is by using a yoga block and just pushing your head right into it like that. This yoga block is a little too high for me, however, so instead of using a block, I'm just gonna use my hands, just like this, creating pressure. Once again, it doesn't matter what tool you use, you're just creating that compressive force. You're pushing down with the upper body, therefore lengthening the inner thighs in this particular exercise or stretch. And now if I release, not so bad. Okay, and as mentioned previously, we're gonna go back straight to this stretch, noticing what happens to your hamstrings when you actually address the adductors or the inner thigh muscles. It should be even more pliable and flexible. Okay, next, we're gonna do the outer hip stretch. For this, you're not gonna need any tools. but there are some tricks. So number one, place your left foot outside of the right knee and then bend your right knee. If you can maintain your balance here without placing your hands on the ground, great. Grab your knee and continue. Otherwise, if you're losing balance and if you're constantly falling over, then you need to keep the right leg straight for now and doing everything else that we do. So, if you can bend the knee, what I want you to do first and foremost is push your body kind of perpendicular to this leg. I'm pushing this thigh away, grabbing the knee with the crook of my right elbow, and I'm just gonna hold this position first. Actually, my right hip, I'm shooting down. I'm trying to point down and stretch kind of towards the ground. After 3 breaths over here, or approximately 15 seconds, I'm gonna place the left hand by the small of my back. My right elbow is gonna go above the knee joint on the quadricep, and I'm gonna push and rotate looking over my left shoulder. I'm also drawing my navel in to stabilize my spine and to allow for greater rotation. After 3 breaths or 15 seconds, I'm gonna straighten the right leg, straighten the left leg, bend the right knee, placing the foot above or right next to the left knee, and then bend your left leg if you can. And once again, watch, pushing the leg away from my body, right? Or I'm trying to twist my body so that it's actually parallel to this leg. And holding this position, I'm driving the hip down, really trying to stretch the right hip down towards the ground. And now the right hand is gonna go by the small of the back, the left elbow right above the knee. Not on the knee, but right above it, as I apply pressure with my elbow into the quadricep, into the thigh, as I turn, looking more and more over the right shoulder. My abs are sunk in, my navel is drawn in, and remember that stabilizes my spine and allows for greater rotation. Okay, now straighten your legs, and let's see where you are again. And remember, if for some reason you don't like what you're feeling, or if you feel like you've gotten less flexible, grab that foam roller. Trick the nervous system again. Right? Every time you do this, it's gonna take less and less time to enhance that flexibility. Now, let's take a look at the figure 4 stretch on your back. Lying down, and I want you to position your right foot over the left knee, and now reach through your legs and grab your left knee. If you find your shoulders off the ground and your head is off the ground like this, you're gonna have to reposition and grab behind the knee. You wanna be able to lie down in this stretch, in a figure 4 stretch. Your shoulders should be on the ground and your chin should be tucked. Avoid this kind of head position. So you're right here. If you can grab over the knee, even better. But really, remember, we're just kind of feeling out what this stretch feels like. And now, let me introduce you to the yoga version of the pigeon stretch, which does the same thing. Here, you want your hips to be flat behind you, right? A lot of times I notice people are going for this 90-degree angle in the knee, but what happens is the hips aren't aligned, right? Then you're stretching kind of the inner thigh, you're stretching some of the piriformins, but really your hips are out of alignment. And so instead, what I recommend is bending this knee a little bit more so that you can actually keep your hips aligned to the floor, and reaching back is how you get that stretch, right? And so remembering our previous tricks, we're gonna use a foam roller and slide it between the leg and upper body. And once again, I'm applying pressure into that foam roller, keeping my hips parallel to the ground, and I'm driving backwards. I'm not driving down, I'm actually trying to slide my hips back as I'm lengthening my spine forward and reaching forward with my head. And now after 3 breaths, I'm gonna remove the foam roller and notice that I can go a little bit further. Let's do this one more time. Let's use the yoga block this time around. The concept is the same. Squish the yoga block between your leg, and if you need to increase that angle in your knee, just slide backwards. No sense dragging the foot forward. Good. Now remove the block. And notice, for me, it's a significant amount of flexibility that got enhanced after pushing the yoga block down. And let's see what that looks like when I lie back down. way more flexible. Now let's see what happens on the left side. Same thing, reach forward, remembering that if you're hanging off the ground, you have to grab underneath the leg. You want the shoulders relaxed, you want the head flat on the ground so that your neck is straight, no arching. And then after establishing kind of what this feels like, we're doing a pigeon stretch on the ground as well. Once again, I'm gonna use the yoga block for this. Position your knee however you need to at this point by focusing on the hips, not the actual knee, right? The hips are parallel and I'm driving them back, sliding everything back, back, back. 3 breaths, removing the block. Much better. Let's do it one more time. And notice how if I want to enhance the angle of the knee, I slide everything backwards. And now I'm pressing into the block. And it goes without saying that you can spend more than 3 breaths in here, right? 5 would be ideal, but just in the interest of time, we're doing it for 3 in this video. Noticing significant amount of flexibility attained after the compression exercises. And now let's see what that looks like. Figure 4 position. Much, much better. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you learned something new today, please smash that like button. Please subscribe to this channel so that you know when new videos are out. And until next time, this is Dan Kayser reminding you to live Pono and train with Aloha.